Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at, well, a truly foundational story, one you find across different faiths, the story of Abraham and this immense test of his faith.
Right. We're digging into the text itself, the details of this really dramatic event.
Yeah.
The goal isn't just to retell it, but to understand the layers, the nuances, the questions it still raises.
Exactly. For you listening, we want to go beyond just the Sunday school version. Explore the sheer weight of what's being asked, Abraham's response, maybe find some surprising details in there. Why does this ancient story still hit so hard?
It really does. So where does it kick off?
It starts with this incredibly direct, almost blunt command from God to Abraham. Take your son, your only son, yes, Isaac, whom you love so much, and go to the land of Moriah.
And not just take him, but go and sacrifice him as a burnt offering.
Yeah, on one of the mountains, which I will show you.
Phew. The emotional weight is just immediate, isn't it? Your son, your only son, yes, Isaac, whom you love so much. It just hammers home the cost.
It really does. This isn't abstract. It's Isaac, the promised child.
And the specific instruction, a burnt offering. That was, a total consumption, symbolizing complete devotion. Plus, there's that initial uncertainty about the place. One of the mountains, which I will show you. Not even a clear destination at first.
That vagueness adds something, doesn't it? It's not just what he has to do, but he has to step out in faith without even knowing the final endpoint. Just trust.
Absolutely. It adds this layer of trust on top of the already staggering command. So how does Abraham react? What does the text tell us?
Well, this is striking. It says, the next morning Abraham got up early.
No hesitation mentioned.
None. It could be faith, maybe shock, maybe just processing through doing. He saddles his donkey, gets his servants, Isaac.
And crucially, chops the wood for the fire, the wood for the offering.
Yeah. That practical detail is chilling, actually. Preparing the means for the sacrifice. It shows he's taking it utterly seriously.
And then they travel.
For 3 days.
3 days. Imagine that journey. That's not a spur-of-the-moment thing. It's sustained, time to think, to doubt, to pray, maybe. The tension must have been immense. You'd think so. And then, finally, he sees the place in the distance.
Right. The destination comes into view. And that's when he tells the servant something interesting.
What's that?
He says, stay here. The boy and I will travel a little farther. We will worship there, and then we will come right back.
We will come right back. That phrase, what do you make of that? Is it faith, hope, maybe a way to reassure the servants or even himself?
It's so ambiguous, isn't it? It could be this profound belief that somehow they will both return. Or maybe it's denial or just trying to keep going. It adds another layer of complexity.
It really does.
Yeah.
And then Isaac himself carries the wood.
Oh, that image. The boy carrying the fuel for his own potential sacrifice. The innocence there is just devastating.
And it leads directly into that heartbreaking question from Isaac.
Yeah, Father.
Just that simple address.
And then we have the fire and the wood, but where's the sheep for the burnt offering? He knows the drill. He knows what's needed for a sacrifice.
His innocent logic just cuts right through everything. He trusts his father completely.
And Abraham's reply, God will provide a sheep for the burnt offering, my son.
Again, is this absolute faith, a desperate hope, a prophecy maybe. It's loaded with meaning, facing this impossible reality. Faith and parental love clashing right there.
So they reach the spot. Abraham builds the altar, arranges the wood, step by step, methodical.
Grimly methodical. Then the text says he ties Isaac up.
Binds him.
Yeah.
And lays him on the altar on top of the wood. The physical act makes it so stark. The power dynamic, the commitment.
She shows this isn't just mental assent. It's full physical obedience to what he believes God is asking. There's a terrible finality to those actions.
And then the absolute peak of the tension. Abraham picked up the knife to kill his son. That moment hangs there.
The point of no return. Almost.
Almost. Because right then...
Divine intervention. The angel calls out, Abraham! Abraham!
Repetition, yeah. Urgent. Stopping him.
Don't lay a hand on the boy. Do not hurt him in any way. And then the explanation comes.
For now I know that you truly fear God. You have not withheld from me even your son, your only son.
So the test wasn't actually about killing Isaac. It was about the willingness. About proving the depth of his reverence, his fear of God, his obedience. That he wouldn't hold back even his most precious thing.
The relief must have been unimaginable. For Abraham, and frankly for the reader, too.
Absolutely. And then right after that, Abraham looks up.
And sees the ram, caught in the thicket by its horn.
The provision. Right there, when it seemed impossible. He takes the ram and sacrifices it in place of his son.
That substitution is key, isn't it?
Hugely significant. And it leads to the naming of the place.
Yahweh Yireh, which means,
The Lord will provide. And the text adds that this became a saying, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided.
so it becomes this lasting monument, a proverb almost, born from that moment of extreme trial and unexpected rescue, a statement of faith for the future.
Exactly. But it doesn't end there. The angel speaks again.
A second time, yes, reinforcing the promises God had made earlier.
But this time, it's sealed with an oath. God swears by his own name, which in that context signifies the utmost certainty. This promise is unbreakable.
And the promises are huge. Descendants like the stars, like the sand on the seashore, victory over enemies.
And that ultimate global blessing, through your descendants, all the nations of the earth will be blessed.
All because you have obeyed me. The obedience shown in not withholding Isaac becomes the trigger for these massive, world-changing promises.
It really cements Abraham's role. His faith, tested to the absolute limit, becomes the foundation for this covenant, this relationship, this future blessing that extends far beyond his own family.
Okay, so after this incredibly intense peak experience, the story tells us Abraham and Isaac return to the servants, and then they all go back to Beersheba. Things seem to return to, well, normal life.
But then the text adds something that feels a bit tacked on almost.
Right, it suddenly pivots to genealogy. Information about Abraham's brother Nahor and his children through his wife Milcah and his concubine Reumah. We get this list of names: Uz, Buz, Kemuel, and eventually Bethuel, who's the father of Rebekah.
It does seem like a sudden shift in focus after the drama on the mountain. Why include that right here?
That's the question, isn't it? What's the significance?
Well, one thought is that it immediately grounds the story back in the family line. After this near loss of the heir, Isaac, it subtly reassures us that the family continues, the lineage is secure. God's promise involves descendants, after all.
Okay, so it's like reconnecting the extraordinary event back to the ongoing family narrative.
And mentioning Bethuel, the father of Rebekah. Well, Rebekah is going to be Isaac's wife. So it's also planting a seed,
Yeah.
foreshadowing the next crucial link in the chain of the promise. It connects this peak moment of faith to the future unfolding of that covenant.
So it might seem random, but it's actually weaving the story forward, reminding us this isn't just about one man and one son on one mountain, but part of a much larger unfolding plan involving generations.
Precisely. Even in the aftermath of immense trial, life, family, lineage, it all continues, and it's all part of that bigger picture.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we've walked through this profound test, Abraham's staggering obedience, the knife-edge intervention, the provision of the ram, and these huge promises that echo down through history.
Yeah. Some things that really stick with me are, well, the sheer tension of that 3-day walk. Isaac's innocent question, where's the lamb? It just cuts so deep.
Oh, definitely.
And the relief when the angel calls out. Plus, that name, Yahweh Yireh, the Lord will provide. It becomes such a powerful symbol.
For you listening, maybe think about what this story stirs up for you. Facing your own challenges, what does this account of faith push to the limit and unexpected provision bring to mind? What parts resonate?
And maybe a final thought to chew on. How does wrestling with a text like this foundational story, shape how we think about faith itself? About trust when things seem impossible? And what could it possibly mean in our lives today to truly not withhold something precious? What might happen when we surrender like that?